He's been inside for 6 hours now. His body is motionless. Eyes open, but seeing nothing in this world. When they finally disconnect him, he'll ask the same question he asked yesterday and the day before that. Is this real? Or am I still in there? Deep in Singapore's eastern corridor, behind biometric checkpoints and facial recognition barriers, sits a facility that doesn't appear on public maps. No tours, no journalists, no witnesses. They call it the Advanced Rehabilitation Complex. But inside, corrections officers have another name for one particular space. Room 7. What happens in this room challenges everything we thought we knew about punishment, about rehabilitation, and the nature of reality itself. According to leaked documents obtained by Seoul Tunnels, Room 7 is the testing ground for what officials call immersive cognitive restructuring. The rest of us might call it something else. Digital imprisonment of the mind. Here's what we know. Violent offenders, those convicted of assault, armed robbery, crimes that traditional rehabilitation has failed to address, are selected for the program. They're brought to Room 7 23 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months. The biometric wrist tag monitors everything: heart rate, stress hormones, neural activity. The system doesn't just watch behavior, it reads the body's involuntary responses. Once secured, the helmet descends. Not the consumer VR headsets, you know. This is something else entirely. High-resolution displays with 240-degree field of view. Haptic feedback systems embedded throughout the suit. Directional audio that tricks the brain into believing sounds are physically real. And most disturbing, transcranial magnetic stimulation nodes that can influence neural pathways while the subject experiences the simulation. The program they enter isn't a game, it's not entertainment, it's a reconstruction of their crimes. From their victims' perspective, in excruciating, inescapable detail, they experience what their victims experienced. The fear, the helplessness, the trauma, not as an abstract concept in a therapy session, but as lived, embodied, felt reality, hour after hour, day after day. Until the system's algorithms determine they've achieved what Singapore Prison Service calls empathetic transformation. We located a former participant in the Room 7 program. He agreed to speak with us on condition of complete anonymity. For legal reasons, we'll call him Subject M. The first day you think you can handle it, he told us. You know it's not real. You tell yourself that over and over. But after the 3rd hour, 4th hour, your brain stops recognizing the difference. The fear becomes real. The pain becomes real. Subject M spent 4 months in the program, 89 days, 23 hours per day, 2,047 hours inside virtual reconstructions, the robbery that put him here, the elderly woman he assaulted. Her terror replayed in an endless loop. I started seeing her in my cell, he said. When they'd take the helmet off, she'd be standing in the corner. I knew it wasn't real, but I could see her, every detail. Psychologists call this simulation persistence, when the brain continues processing virtual experiences as if they were real memories. But what Subject M describes goes further. 3 weeks after release, I'm in a coffee shop, he continued, normal day. And suddenly, I'm back there, back in the simulation. I can feel the helmet on my head. I can see the monitoring screens. But I'm also in the coffee shop. Both places at once. I don't know which one is the simulation anymore. This interview, right now? How do I know this is real? How do I know anything is real after you've lived in a constructed world for 2,000 hours? That's the question that haunts every graduate of Room 7. Sometimes I think I'm still in there, he whispered, that I never left. That this is just another layer of the simulation. Our investigation uncovered internal communications between Singapore Prison Service and the technology contractor developing the Room 7 system. What we found contradicts the official narrative entirely. Room 7 was never approved by Singapore's Ethics Review Board. It exists in what officials call a pilot research exemption, a legal gray zone that allows experimental procedures without traditional oversight. The company behind the technology? A joint venture between a Singaporean defense contractor and a neurotechnology firm with ties to military psychological operations research. Their patents don't just cover rehabilitation applications. They include sections on hostile interrogation, memory modification, and behavioral control through simulated environment manipulation. Room 7 isn't just about making violent criminals experience empathy. It's about proving that human consciousness can be systematically altered through prolonged virtual immersion. That reality itself can be weaponized. Since 2019, 143 inmates have been processed through Room 7. Singapore Prison Service reports an 87% reduction in recidivism among program participants. But they don't report the other statistics. 41 participants diagnosed with persistent dissociative disorders, 23 requiring psychiatric hospitalization post-release, 7 who report chronic inability to distinguish simulated from actual memories. They tell you it's rehabilitation, Subject M said. They tell you it's for your own good. But when you can't trust your own memories anymore, when you don't know if your life is real, what's left of you? Room 7 doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of Singapore's broader vision. A nation where technology doesn't just monitor behavior, but shapes it. The same AI systems that track inmates in Room 7 are being tested throughout Singapore's smart city network. Behavioral prediction algorithms, emotion recognition cameras. Systems that don't just watch what you do, but attempt to predict what you'll do next. And Singapore isn't keeping this technology to itself. 7 countries have signed information sharing agreements to learn from their innovations in corrections technology. What begins in Room 7 could become the template for a new form of punishment. Not physical confinement, but mental reconstruction. Not rehabilitation through understanding. Compliance through confusion. Through breaking the very foundation of what makes someone human. Their ability to trust their own experience of reality. We submitted formal questions to Singapore Prison Service about Room 7, about the psychological effects, about the ethical implications, about Subject M's testimony. Their response? The Singapore Prison Service is committed to evidence-based rehabilitation that prioritizes public safety and inmate welfare. All programs undergo rigorous ethical review and comply with international standards. Not a single specific question answered. Not one statistic confirmed or denied. They asked me before I was released if I felt rehabilitated, Subject M told us. I told them yes, because that's what you say to make it stop. But the truth? I don't feel rehabilitated. I feel erased, like the person who walked into Room 7 doesn't exist anymore. And I don't know if the person who walked out is real or just another program they installed. Here's what keeps me awake at night about Room 7. It's not just that this technology exists. It's not even that governments are using it without meaningful oversight. It's that it works. The inmates don't reoffend. Their behavior changes by every measurable metric. Room 7 accomplishes what traditional incarceration cannot, but at what cost? When we can edit human consciousness like software, when we can make someone question the very reality of their existence, when punishment becomes indistinguishable from psychological obliteration, have we created rehabilitation? Or have we perfected a form of control so complete that physical prisons become obsolete? Room 7 is a prototype, a proof of concept. And if it proves that human identity can be systematically dismantled and reconstructed through virtual immersion, Then what's to stop this from expanding beyond violent offenders? Beyond criminals altogether? What's to stop Room 7 from becoming Room 700, Room 7000? When the prison exists inside your own mind, there are no walls to escape. 2 days after this interview, Subject M stopped responding to our messages. We contacted his parole officer. His apartment was empty. No forwarding address. Singapore Prison Service declined to comment on his whereabouts. The last message he sent us contained only 3 words. I'm still inside. Room 7 is always occupied. The question is, by whom?